this session so we can share it with others. And if you hear a dog barking in the background, apologies. But let's go ahead and get started here. I'm so glad to be with everyone. If we haven't had the chance to meet, my name is Rabbi Josh Bolton. I'm the Executive Director of Brown RISD Hillel, coming to you live from beautiful and chilly Providence, Rhode Island. And, this is the third community update that we have posted this semester. And I think it really has allowed us to feel the kind of the arc of this season in terms of the politics of this moment, in terms of the joy of this moment. And I'm looking forward to being able to kind of give an update here at the end of the semester tonight. I think that it goes without saying, just to open with a little bit of Torah, we've just entered the wonderful Jewish month of Kislev, which is the month of Hanukkah, which, rabbis are trained. We can either go in the direction of miracles or in the direction of light. And I think the fact of the matter is, sitting here, at the end, here in December, at the end of the semester we've had with the richness of Jewish life that we've experienced on campus, you really could pick either path. I'm kind of sensitive to the light. And, I think that I wouldn't even bring up the little light and the dark, how it illuminates darkness. I would just stay focused on the light. And, Jewish life on campus here at Brown, at RISD, on College Hill is truly a source of light, is a source of light for the students, first and foremost, in many, many ways. And I know we're going to be able to hear from some students this evening. It's a source of light for the broader campus and university community. And anyone who has visited, feels and understands the ways in which Jewish life really contributes to the fullness of the community experience and bringing people together, both across commonality and across difference here at the university. And it really, contributes to the light of the world, I want to say. We are broadcasting Jewish light and Jewish wisdom and Jewish warmth from the corners of Olive, Brown, and Angel Streets out into the world, and it's such a pleasure to do that, and a privilege to do this work. I'm going to take 2 minutes of introduction, then I'm going to hand it off, and we can come back on the other end with hopefully with a Q&A. If you have questions, please enter them into the chat. They'll go to Molly and myself, and depending upon how much time we have, we can moderate a little bit of a conversation on the other end of the presentation. But, I went back in my emails. Hopefully many of you received my emails. I've spent a lot of time investing in my emails this semester. And I went back to the first email that I wrote in August, in which I really set out a number of objectives for Brown RISD Hillel, for the Jewish community this year. And it was very, very powerful to read them and to feel, some sense of success that we have seen these through, but also understand the importance of, that our mission is so critical right now. I think we all feel it. And so we must really kind of continue to recommit ourselves to our goals. We walked into this semester, number one, with really 4 pieces. Number one, a deep stress and focus on student safety, and we really, both Hillel and Chabad, in partnership with the university, with Providence Police, with the local Jewish infrastructure, we boosted layers of security to support students in all sorts of meaningful, important, impactful ways. And that's something that we remain committed to, and that we were going to continue to see into the semester to come. Number two, both organizations, we staffed up in a really meaningful and significant way. We brought on 3 new professionals. We brought on, for the first time in many people's memory, our Hillel's first shlicha, Israeli emissary from the Jewish agency, Yael, and the impact that she has made has been tremendous. We've also brought on staff whose focus was mentorship. And as a matter of fact, some of you all had the chance to meet my colleague Mika Aviad earlier in the year when she was spotlighted on one of these calls. And so the development of our mentorship and networking initiative, which is unique in many regards in the Hillel network, was begun this semester. Thirdly, we really set out with a goal of, if I could say it, flooding campus with positive Jewish programming, positive Jewish experiences, opportunities for students, including, most importantly, bringing the voices of pro-Israel, pro-Jewish thought leaders to campus. Not really, I would not say to counter the voices on the other side, but I would say to fill the ecosystem with the ambiance of these ideas and their import, and to make sure that students have the opportunity to be both exposed to these ideas and to feel supported by those thought leaders coming to campus. And we saw a number of outstanding speakers, including Dr. Einat Wilf, podcaster Dan Sinor, artist Zoe Buckman, and actually many others. And I really want to give a nod to our university partners who helped participate in this initiative, with a special shout out to the Watson Institute and Dr. Wendy Schiller, who has been running Watson this year. And we fully expect that this kind of trend of Jewish ideas will continue into the next semester. We already know that we have columnist and thought leader Brett Stevens scheduled to come to campus in, I want to say, February of the coming semester. So this is going to continue. And if you talk to current students here, they'll tell you it feels like night and day in terms of the exposure to Jewish ideas, and the fact that there really is no Jewish vacuum on campus in terms of pro-Jewish ideas. And lastly, I'll just say, we walked into this semester aware that we were going to need to fight tirelessly against the climate of anti-Semitism and anti-Israelism that we have been facing on college campuses around the country. And in fact, even if you've been following loosely, you know that the really, really tireless hard work of students, of alumni, of Jewish professionals on this campus, and a really thoughtful, slow, deliberate process by the university resulted in the tossing out of divestment, which, along with I would say some overreaches of the revolt, the campus protest movement, really has led us to a moment in which it's almost night and day between where we began this semester and where we ended this semester. And maybe this is on the theme of miracles and Hanukkah, but considering the stress of where we were last April, considering the trials of what we faced at the beginning of the semester, Jewish students will tell you that we are operating really very, very close to normal in so many ways, normal for a college campus. And if you haven't seen it, I'll just drop in the text a great piece by our student Ben Marcus. Hopefully everyone can click on that, in which he kind of very much explores absolutely what the kind of climate is today as opposed to a few weeks and month ago. So we came into the semester with big plans. It was a time in which we came into the semester in a time in which there was a lot of talk about divestment. And as we said many, many times, in a time in which they speak about divestment, the only reasonable plan for us is massive investment in Jewish life and Jewish learning and Jewish spirituality and Jewish community. And that's exactly what we've done this semester. I'm so proud of the team that I get to work with, my colleagues, and especially my colleague, Rabbi Mendel Laufer and his wife Chani at Chabad. I'm going to hand it to Mendel in just a moment. Afterwards, we're going to get a chance to hear directly from Molly Goldmeier, who's Brown RISD Hillel's managing director. She's going to give a little bit of a sense of kind of the programmatic texture of the past semester and what to expect of the year to come. And she's also going to introduce us to a number of students who are going to give us a little bit more of a kind of dialed in perspective on student programming, leadership, and experience. But before I hand it to Mendel, on one of the great. Can you all see that? This is really what. There's a lot of images that that make this this semester special, but this was one of the first ones. This was the our first of the year Olive Street Shabbat, collaborative Shabbat between Hillel and Chabad, and there was 300 students that gathered, and everyone had dinner together at Hillel. They had services, then they went for dessert across the street, Olive Street, to the Laufer households for dessert, and then everyone came back for Hillel for an oneg a little bit later. It was kind of like a progressive meal, and in so many ways it represents a uniquely kind of special relationship that Hillel and Chabad have on College Hill, unique really in almost the entire North American campus ecosystem landscape. So I'm really proud of the partnership with Mendel. And without further ado, I think, Mendel, I'm going to pass it over to you for some reflections.
Thank you, Josh, very much. And there's no question about that, that our relationship has been such a blessing for the community and for everyone, for ourselves and the students. And what a blessing, what a joy to share this community together. You're talking about light and you're talking about night and day. So I was thinking about sometimes the tremendous blessings that we see in the community, particularly this semester, in contrast to the way it was last April and last year in general, and the challenges we face. There's a lot of light and there's a lot of day, like you said, and sometimes the night has made the day. With this week's Torah portion, this is the Parsha where it talks about Yaakov leaving a place of comfort and going through a place of challenge, and specifically through the challenges is where he builds the future of the Jewish people. 11 of the 12 sons of Yaakov are born. They're born in a place of challenge, and over there, from the challenge grows tremendous light and tremendous day. And I feel like in a certain sense, we're seeing that in the moments today. I know we don't want to contrast the light with the darkness, but a lot of light and a lot of day is greatly celebrated in this month. So I just want to express gratitude, of course, to Hashem and to all those who are joining in this beautiful community, and the light that we've seen in this. And my prayer and for all of us is that this continue on for the next semester, and as we move forward in building a beautiful community and a beautiful space for the Jewish people, and sharing light onto the entire Brown community in general, a beautiful space for everyone. So thank you.
Mendel, do you want to give like a 2 seconds update on the status of the growth of the Chabad house and the construction underway there?
So yeah, thank you, Josh, for mentioning that. The big project that we're doing now, which is we're renovating the entire 12 and 14 Olive Street, and we've made significant growth there. We've made significant inroads. Just give me 1 second. Some noise is coming my way. So we've done a lot of work here, and they've placed the steel beams to be able to remove all the load-bearing walls and open up the space, and they've begun to dig down and underpin the foundation to be able to create a larger gathering space in the lower level of the house as well. And we're seeing significant progress. And we look forward, God willing, with Hashem's help, if everything will go in order. And for upcoming September, for next school year, we'll be in the new space, newly fully renovated space, and we'll be able to celebrate in great joy and warmth and growth.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Every morning is a source of inspiration to pull in the parking lot and to see the work going on across the street. It's a type of symbolic reminder of the moment of growth that we're in. So I want to thanks, Mendel. I want to hand it over to Molly Goldmeier, BRH's managing director. And let's see, Molly, what do I need to do here? Pin you? Is that what I need to do?
Let me see. Does this work?
Yeah, that works. That's
okay,
it.
awesome. Thanks, Josh. Thank you, Mendel. It's so great to be back with this group. Thank you all so much for joining tonight, and a special thank you. We have three phenomenal students here on this call tonight that you're going to hear from, at the end of my update. So really appreciate everyone being here, and I'm so excited to bring you into some of the amazing things that have been happening this semester. Okay, bear with me for one moment while I share my screen. Oops. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, thanks. Sorry about that. So really excited to talk to you about what's been going on. Tonight, this is a very typical Brown RISD Hillel moment for me. I'm here at the building, and outside of my doors, we've got a RISD sophomore installing the last few pieces for his art show tomorrow night. We've got a lecture going on upstairs that's for the Brown student community and also for the Jewish community here in Providence. And we've got a Hanukkah party at 7. So we're gonna have to end this call promptly so I could go eat some latkes with students. But it's a typical Brown RISD Hillel moment. And as you've heard from both Josh and Mendel, it's been a very vibrant and positive semester. We were planning what the semester would look like. We feel so blessed and excited that we've just been able to platform so many students' creativity and so many emerging voices, and from arts to bagels to author talks to DIY Shabbats. There's just been so much going on. So I'm excited to bring you into it. Firstly, I just want to talk about we've had so many wonderful opportunities to hear from amazing speakers this semester. And as Josh mentioned, we've been collaborating with the Wasson Institute and other departments here at Brown. So just want to spotlight our conversation with Dan Sinor and Nadav Eyal. They came at the end of October, and they came here as a collaborative event with Watson, and Dan and Nadav run the Call Me Back podcast. So I'm not sure if folks have heard of it, but they had a lecture here in one of the university spaces, and then afterwards there was an intimate dinner with about 40 student leaders where there was just a conversation about campus climate, what it feels like to be a Jewish student on campus, and afterwards, for those of you who listen to the podcast, Brown got a pretty awesome shout out. So much so that I've been receiving emails from my peers at other Hillels and some other parents from other Hillels asking how we were able to get Dan and Nadav to come to Brown RISD Hillel. So that was a really exciting event. And just 2 weeks ago, we had Congressman Richie Torres here for Shabbat. And I wanted to include both the impact photo, but also the selfies, because I think the selfies really communicate the energy of the night. And so we had about 80 to 100 folks, both here for Shabbat dinner and for a lecture afterwards. And we have Malcolm Furman here, who I'm going to pass it to at the end of this to share a little bit about his experience. He's up there up front interviewing Richie and about what that experience was like for our community. So really appreciative to everyone who made this possible, and excited to kind of bring you into that. Next, I want to talk about our New York City arts trip. So I see Hillary Blumberg is out there on this Zoom call, and just want to thank you so much for all that you did to make this trip possible. Our coordinator for arts engagement, Deborah Foreman, brought 23 students to New York for a whirlwind 48-hour trip with studio visits. There was a networking evening, gallery visits, museum tours, and it was really phenomenal. And so much of what we do here is dominated by the Brown student experience, and it's so fantastic to have a professional who could really spotlight the RISD folks and give them all of the experiences to really uplift the creative work that they're doing. And it's a success when the minute that the students come back, they're like, how can we do this again next semester? So that's going to be happening again in March, and really, really excited to see where our arts initiative continues to grow. Next, I just want to talk about another initiative that we started this year, which is our mentorship and networking initiative. So we brought on a new professional, Mika Aviad, who a lot of you had the chance to meet on one of these first calls. And she is here working with students, connecting them to the Brown network, the Brown and RISD alumni and parent network, and helping them, find connections for summer internships, for jobs after university, and helping students connect for mentorship conversations with our alumni and parent database. So we're really excited to be that we were able to launch that this year. And I just wanted to include an awesome photo from our recent event, which was an investment banking versus consulting student panel featuring 5 seniors who work at different companies and have gone through that experience. And so they came and answered questions for underclassmen. And so this is something that we're continuing to see grow. And I just want to invite everyone here, if you are interested in being a mentor for a current student, we would love to include you in this initiative. So please let me know. And also, we've recently launched our Brown RISD Hillel LinkedIn page. And so would love to connect with everyone through that platform as well, so that we can continue to enrich the lives of students here. So keep that in mind, and please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any ideas for how we can grow this. And then lastly, I just want to share a little bit about what's coming up next semester. It's hard to believe that we're here, in the last 3 weeks of this fall semester. So we have a lot of things cooking that I just want to share with you. The first few weeks of the semester, we've got our Welcome Back Week, which is, similar to our Welcome Week of orientation, but we've got, ice skating, we've got a trip to the Torah Synagogue, we've got a trivia night, we have all sorts of good things going on. So as soon as students come back on the 22nd, we've just hit the ground running with lots of great things. We're also going to be hosting our colleague, Dr. Ashish Jha, here for a collaborative event with the School of Public Health. Ashish has been a very good friend and colleague to the Jewish community here and has been very supportive of the work that we're doing. And we're so excited to give students the opportunity to connect academically with Brown RISD Hillel, and to have more of an intimate conversation with a dean and a colleague here at Brown. Also just want to share that we're going to be launching our immersive experiences soon for next semester. Some of you have heard that we're going on a trip to Argentina with the Hillel of Buenos Aires. We're going to do a student exchange. And so this will be over spring break for students to be able to meet their contemporaries at the Hillel in Argentina. We're also going to be sending a mission to Israel for the 2nd year in a row to do volunteer work, and also to bear witness of what life on the ground is like post October 7th. And we'll also be sending another arts trip, as I mentioned. And so other things that I just want to mention that are exciting that are coming up. We're going to have an alumni Shabbaton, where we're inviting Brown and RISD alumni to come back to campus to connect with students, to see Jewish life, and to eat at the Rabbi, eat Shabbat dinner, talk to students about their careers. And so stay tuned for more information about that. And yeah, you've got Bruno's Bar Mitzvah, so that's our big Hillel formal next semester. So just soft launching some of these things, so you guys can stay tuned. But there's a lot of good stuff coming, and we're really expecting to build on the awesome and vibrant energy of the semester. So thanks for letting me kind of bring you into that. And I know that you're also eager to hear from our students. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to, Josh, ask for your help in spotlighting the awesome students that are here tonight.
I'm gonna give it a shot now. Okay. Here comes. So is it spotlight or pin?
Okay, I think I got it.
You got
okay.
it. You got
awesome.
it.
Shosh, Paul, Malcolm, thank you so much for being here. This is a busy, busy time in the lives of Brown students. So thank you all so much for making the time. I'm really excited to spotlight these 3 phenomenal student leaders for all the things that they've worked on this semester. And just so you can hear kind of a pulse from what's going on, in the lives of Brown students. So Shosh, can I ask you to unmute first and talk to us a little bit about, freshman fall. You graduated from high school a year ago. You took a gap year in Israel. You arrived here on campus, and talk to us about how this first semester, what that was like for you, and how Brown RISD Hillel and Chabad and College Hill played a role in your semester here.
Great. Thank you so much, Molly, and thank you for having me. So as you said, I was going to recap it first, but my name is Shosh, and I'm a freshman here at Brown. I went to Jewish day school, and I also, as you just mentioned, spent past year on a gap year in Israel, an Israeli Mechina program. And I was there for October 7th. I was there for the whole year. And honestly, one of the things that was brought up a lot by my Israeli friends was the anticipation of going to a secular college after hearing all about kind of what was going on, especially on the Ivy League campuses. So I came in very nervous, and can very confidently say that compared to my other friends from day schools who took a gap year and are now starting college now, I think I've had the smoothest transition. The Jewish community here has enveloped me. It's been unbelievable, more than anything I could have ever expected. So, I mean, a couple things that I would touch on is the community I visited, I guess, 2 years ago when I was a senior. And since then, the community has exponentially grown. The Shabbat Friday night dinners, both at Chabad and both at Hillel, are about like 100 people. They're really large, and it just has such a warm sense of community and feeling. And it's really nice and unique, as you guys mentioned before, how there is such a common good relationship between the Hillel and Chabad, in the sense of that I'll go with one of my friends to Hillel for Shabbat dinner, and then we'll walk to Chabad over later. And of course, it's only a few blocks away. In addition to that, we also had a daily minyan, which has been really amazing. I attend that as much as I can. And on Friday night, there are services for both Orthodox, Conservative, and Reform. I also think that just every day, it's so amazing. Like, I think I walked into the community and everyone here is very unique. I think Brown itself is a very self-selecting school, and I think you can say that even more so about the Jewish community. I said this, actually, I was asked pretty early on to give a Dvar Torah on Friday night of Shabbat, and something that I said directly to the students in the community is that I think there's a unique sense of drive and motivation, both for the students, but that the people are the most loving, kind, communal people at the same time. I think you saw it, for example, on Friday afternoons before Shabbat, we have an amazing kosher dining hall in the Radi that was just newly renovated, I think a couple years ago. But because of Shabbat starting so early, there's no kosher food on Friday evenings. So one of my friends came up with the idea that through Chabad, we would have a barbecue every Friday afternoon. So after my classes end at 12 p.m., I walk on over to the Chabad and we have fresh hamburgers, and I'm celiac, I'm gluten-free. So there's also gluten-free food that Chani makes for me. And it's just more than I ever could have expected. There's also a ton of events that I've really enjoyed going to. Some that I looked up, I realized that there's kind of a common theme. They all involve food, which I guess is very Jewish of us. But for the freshmen, there were welcome events. Like there was a bonfire for going back to school. We also had a special pasta night, and they're all on this beautiful deck that we have. I'm actually in the Hillel building right now. That is just overlooking kind of the campus. It's in the center. It's really easy to walk to from any area of campus that you're living or classes that you're in, and getting to know people through those sort of events has just been unbelievable.
Thank you so much, Shosh. I feel like you brought us into the freshman experience. And can I just ask, like, is there anything that surprised you about Jewish life on campus, you know, coming in, what you would think it would be like? What was that experience like for you?
I mean, I would say I was definitely nervous coming post October 7th and hearing all the commotion. I talked to a few current students before I came, asking them what it was like, and they were like, oh, it's been a little bit tricky, but it's been fine. And definitely the first kind of couple of weeks was a big adjustment, given that I was in Israel before, and now it was my first time ever in a kind of a real secular environment. But I think this really, it struck me. I remember when we found out that when Hirsch and a bunch of other hostages had been killed, I had this feeling of like nervousness that I was about to be alone. And then following right the next day, we had a vigil for all those who were killed. And I said to everyone, which is, I was nervous that I was going to be alone. And this community that has been built here has made sure that it's impossible for me to feel that way. I also felt that on October 7th, when we held a vigil, there was also a display on the main green in the middle of campus for all of the hostages. And really, truly, the people and the institutions that have been in the activities that have been implemented makes it impossible for you to kind of feel any of the ways that I was scared of feeling. It's also been a lot quieter on campus more recently, since after all of the divestment hearings and the suspension of the Students for Justice of Palestine. It's really, I don't think about it as much in my day-to-day. And even before then, even when there were protests going on, it wouldn't impact my day-to-day life. And I was able to go along with what I was doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shosh. And I'm going to keep you here spotlighted because I have a feeling that there will be more questions that we'll want your insight on. But I'm going to pass it to Malcolm. Malcolm, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the crew?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Malcolm. I'm a sophomore and I'm studying political science. So thank you to Molly and Rabbi Josh and Rabbi Mendel for inviting me onto the Zoom to talk a little bit about Richie Torres's visit, which some of you may have heard about. Richie Torres, I'm sure many of you know, is a strong supporter of the Jewish community in America, of Jewish students on campus. He speaks with real moral clarity on Israel and issues involving Jewish students on campus. And so we were extraordinarily lucky to have him on campus, and Molly and Josh were gracious enough to ask me to be a student host for his visit for the evening. He came before services, and he joined both our Orthodox services and Reform services. We went between the two, and then sat with students for dinner and had discussions. As you can imagine, someone of his visibility and significance, people were really looking forward to speaking with him and asking him questions, engaging with him, even debating with him at times productively. So that was great in a smaller environment at the dinner table. And then, as Molly mentioned, and you may have seen the photo, upstairs we had a relatively large dessert discussion, we called it, with him, where I and Daniel Solomon, who's another student interested in politics and involved in politics at Brown, interviewed him, and we asked him about a number of things that we thought were relevant to students at Brown, to Jewish life at Brown, and the work that he's done to support Israel and American Jews. We talked a little bit about, he is a progressive congressman. He's a Democrat, and supports a lot of progressive policies, but at a time when progressivism seems to shun Zionism. We talked with him a little bit about the interaction between his progressivism and Zionism, and I think that resonated with a lot of students who were here, and a lot of students on Brown's campus. We talked with him about some of the things that he's been working to do to protect Jewish students on campus, some of the legislative pathways to working with these universities to prevent anti-Semitism and support Jewish life. We talked with him a little bit about the domestic political landscape. He joined us, shortly after the election, and sort of the political and geopolitical moment that we are faced with Israel. So he had a number of fascinating comments, and we had a great discussion with him. I think it was his message is especially salient because he so strongly stands with the Jewish community and with the pro-Israel community, despite not being Jewish, despite being a Black gay man from the South Bronx. He stands so strongly with us, and I think that makes his message particularly powerful. And it was a fantastic opportunity for myself and for all the students at Hillel that evening. And we had some community parents and community members as well to be able to engage with them. So it was just a wonderful way to enrich one of our Friday evenings and learn with the Hillel community. So.
Thank you so much, Malcolm. Thanks for bringing us into that. And for the folks who weren't here, that was like a standing room only. I feel like you were in the front and people were just, coming in. So you did such an excellent job. And Malcolm, while I have you here, I know you spent some time at the investment banking versus consulting event, and that you've been meeting with Mika kind of, about this new mentorship initiative. So I'm just wondering if you'll share a little bit with the group here about how that's helped kind of shape your thoughts about how you'll be spending your summer and what an internship could look like for you.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So, I'm a sophomore, and getting to the point where I'm thinking about the direction I want my professional life to go in, and thinking about how my summers and connecting with people who can help, shape the direction that I'm going in. And so Hillel has been this semester in particular a great resource and point of contact. we had the investment banking versus consulting panel, which, as someone who doesn't plan into going into consulting or finance, but still attended, found to be helpful to hear from upperclassmen and older students about career advice, about figuring out what it is that you're interested in and what you want to do, and how to get internships and how to connect with people, how to network. Valuable skills, and I met with Mika as well, who's helping me to connect with some alum through the Hillel network, which I think is a fantastic thing. I mean, you know, the Brown network is already a great resource to have, but to be able to tap into the Jewish Brown alumni community, I think is very special, and I think that Hillel's been doing a lot to try and encourage students to engage with that. So that's been great, and looking forward to continuing to engage on that front.
Thanks, Malcolm. When you're a famous alumni, I hope you'll come back and do something to future students.
For sure.
This
For
call is
sure.
recorded, so we could hold you to that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Malcolm. And Paul, thank you also for being here. Can I ask you to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to this crew? And I'd love for you to share, about your experience with the dialogue workshop and kind of bring this group into that.
Yeah, of course. First of all, just thank you, Rabbi Bolton, Rabbi Mendel, Molly, for asking me to speak. I think that it's it's great for all the parents. I think it's great for students to feel like the things that we're doing with Hillel, people like it that we're engaging. I really appreciated the opportunity to participate in this workshop because I've been very passionate. I've been very passionate about sort of the idea of encompassing the entire Jewish community at Brown. Hillel has an extremely tight Jewish community, and there's a lot of people that engage a lot. But I think that this workshop was a great opportunity for people in the Jewish community at Brown who aren't necessarily that tied into Hillel to come in and dip their toes in the pool and get a taste of Hillel, sort of wanting for them to share their perspective. We had the opportunity to work with Resetting the Table, which is a organization working on political divisiveness in the U.S. I'm pretty sure it was her name, Danny Panich. Was that? Yeah. Danny Panich was our facilitator. She did an amazing job. The whole idea was to bring together a lot of students with, a diverse perspective on Israel, people who have different relationships to Israel, people who have different political opinions on Israel. And then for those students to, first of all, talk about, how they talk about Israel, the different ways in which modes of communication can be productive, not productive, and then to really have those conversations, to have those hard conversations in a controlled environment where we were being mindful of how we were communicating. One of the things that I thought was really insightful about the workshop was that you can tell a lot of thought went into it from the beginning, right? Before we even got there, everyone filled out a survey that was extremely specific. These were questions that you would not find on a general, Brown Opinion Project poll. These were questions asking about, students' backgrounds, students' relationships, very specific relationships with Judaism, their first memories of how they think about Israel and how they think about politics related to Israel, and then also about their relationship to Jewish spaces on campus. And really just sitting down with a bunch of people in a room who you disagree with, and looking at this array of statistics about what percentage of the room thinks A and what percentage of the room thinks B is, I think, it's a very vulnerable experience, but it's a really amazing experience because of how because of how supported it was. After we went through our surveys, we sort of unpacked the strategies and the different modes of communication that can be productive, that look to like, talking about making people feel heard, making people feel like their political opinions are valid opinions, and that they should be able to talk about why they think what they think, and talk about how their life has shaped their political opinion. And then once that's been laid out, once they feel like their perspective has been heard by you, you can approach it from an argumentative point of view. You can say, look, I don't think that I agree with you. But the whole point is arguing and saying that you don't agree, in a respectful way and in a way that is productive, and producing dialogue that at least takes one step forward, opposed to shouting and not getting anywhere. I think that the highlight for me of the workshop was really the last part, where we had an opportunity to just talk with students and groups of students. And to me, that was just a really beautiful moment, because we were all experiencing how many different backgrounds there are at Hillel and in our Jewish community. There's people that have disparate views on Israel coming from very similar places, and people that have exactly the same view on Israel coming from, very, very different places. I think that's, I don't know, to have the opportunity to hear about people's stories and hear about people's perspectives was something that I value, and something that I, am trying to make happen every day here at Brown.
Oh, thank you so much. I think, the students that signed up for this workshop, they, when they walked in, they were introducing themselves to their peers. There's a lot of students who spend time here who might not know each other or might not have crossed paths. So to accept the invitation and to be brave enough to listen and to have tough conversations, it's really what is, part of healing our community from kind of the challenge of this past year. So I really appreciate it. And Paul and I had coffee earlier today, and we were already brainstorming about, like, when we do this next semester, here's how we can do it better. Here's how we're going to tinker with it. So just really appreciate your leadership in this space. And so I know that folks here might have some questions for the students. So I just want to invite, if anyone wants to send me or Josh or Mendel a message, be happy to pass it to the students, or we're also happy to
I think the folks I think with a size this large, I think that if folks want to unmute themselves and ask, we're also happy to do that, as long as it doesn't descend into a bunch of Jews, yelling at each other.
So you're invited to unmute.
Anybody has any reflections?
Yes, I have a question. Is there a list of activities that all the students, so they know what's coming up? I mean, I'm just wondering if how the students know when the speakers are coming, when there are particular activities happening.
Such a great question. Do one of the students want to answer, like, from their perspective?
I'd be happy to answer. So I think there's a couple ways that people are able to find out. One is there's an email listserv that I believe, I don't know how people are added to, but I assume that there's an email listserv that you can be added to if you want to, and you'll get notifications when any events are. There's also a Brown RISD Hillel and a Chabad Instagram, which post upcoming events, which is pretty effective. And then for Chabad, there's also a WhatsApp group chat you can be added to that also lists the upcoming events. And then also something that I found very effective is word of mouth. Kind of, it just passes by, and maybe that's the communities that I tend to be around a lot. But even kind of just in passing, if I'm walking through the Hillel building, there might be a sign about an event coming up, or someone saying, hey, are you going to this Hanukkah party? That's actually how I found about the Hanukkah party that's happening in an hour.
Was a formal announcement made of those listings to the students, maybe at a Shabbat dinner or something, so people would know to look at it for new students?
So we tend to add. My guess is that some significant percentage of the entire Brown undergraduate population receives our newsletter, Jews and otherwise. It's one of our kind of passions to make sure that folks are signed up for it. And if you have a student here, there's a 99.9% chance that they receive the Friday email, the Monday emails. Whether they read them, that's something that I can't, I don't know the percentage of, but with the exception of the Richie Torres event, which we announced very differently because of requests from his office, all of these events are blasted, and sometimes they receive individual email blasts. So again, I'm never sure what the kind of culture of email reading is these days, but you know, I hope the students feel on this call that, you know, we try to shout from every mountaintop with in terms of programming.
Yeah, I will say I get the newsletters every week and I read them. I think a lot of people do read them. But there are also non-Hillel events on the newsletter, which is great. You know, I had an event for a club. We had an elected official on campus a few weeks ago, and I was able to put the word out, you know, not related to Hillel at all, but I was able to put the word out on the newsletter. So it's also a place for learning about non-Hillel related events, which I think is great.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank, you know, Shosh, Paul, and Malcolm. Thank you so much for being here. I know it's a busy time. It's just so incredible for everyone to get the chance to hear from you and hear about all the great things that you're doing on campus. And so thanks for taking the time to be here with us. And Josh, we'll pass it back to you.
Thank you. Thanks. And Shosh, Malcolm, Paul, thank you so much. You guys are great. And so grateful that you all have been able to step up in the way you've been able to step up. And Molly, you know, I'm always profoundly grateful for your leadership and driving our community forward in so many kind of consequential ways. You know, as I mentioned before, this is the third community update that we've given this semester. And I think that it's important that, and I'm even tempted to say positive, that we've gone from over 100 people joining this call to 60 people joining this call to 30 people joining this call, because I think that folks understand that Jewish life is strong at Brown and RISD. And while not every day is easy, while, you know, we can't control every professor in every classroom, the fact of the matter is, you know, the direction of Jewish life is headed in a very, very positive orientation. And together with our colleagues at Chabad, together with the partnership that we have with the administration, together with, you know, so many folks, there really is a whole constellation that's working on behalf of Jewish students and behalf of the future of the Jewish community. And I want to close with two points. Number one, just as a reminder, if you haven't heard, you know, next November, we're going to be celebrating 130 years of Jewish life at Brown. That's going to be a multi-day celebration that's being put on by a collaboration of folks, including the Office of the President and a number of Hillel longtime trustees and leaders have critical roles in that planning. So you'll be hearing much more about those events over the coming season. But I wanted to put that out as a maybe a deep in your calendar to mark November 2025. I hope you'll be able to join us here on College Hill. And the last thing, if you don't mind, I just would say this is all made possible really by the wisdom and the generosity of our community. You know, we have a community of over 613. I think that's a very Jewish number of alumni, parents, and peers and friends who make contributions in support of Jewish life and make this all a possibility. And thank you for all that you have done for us. And as we approach here the end of the calendar year, in which I know there's so much philanthropic energy and giving, please consider supporting BRH. Please consider supporting Chabad of College Hill. This is money that, as you've heard tonight, goes directly to support students, and it's having a consequential impact, not only in the lives of Jewish students, but in the lives of the entire university as well. So thank you all. More than happy always to connect offline with anyone. Please just send us, an email. And if I don't have the chance to connect with you before, I want to send everyone best wishes for a holiday season of much light and love. And may we all be blessed with many miracles. Whatever the miracles that we need, may we be blessed with them. So thank you all, and we'll talk soon.